What's up, everybody? Jeremy Gerard from Mythic Customs here with another one of my short customizing tutorial videos. In this video, I'm going to talk about the best Mythic Legions figures to use as a base in your customs. So this is a question I see a lot of customizers, especially new customizers who are just coming into the Mythic Legions line. I see them ask this question in terms of which Mythic Legions figures should I be targeting to use as kind of the springboard for the customs I want to create. There's actually a few different ways that you can approach this question, so I'm going to talk about those in this video. Now, the first thing I'll offer to answer the question of which is the best Mythic Legions figure to use as the base in a custom is simply whichever one you can get your hands on. I know that kind of sounds like a cop-out, but it's absolutely true. Every Mythic Legions figure works well as a base for customizing. I've said this before, but because these figures use a limited parts library in really creative ways, combining different parts of that library, obviously repainting them to create new characters and new looks, that also fuels our work as customizers. So the reality is there's a lot of Mythic Legions figures that are challenging to get these days. They're very, very expensive on the secondary market. So I would tell you that whichever ones you can get for a reasonable price, that is where you should start. Certainly, if you're thinking aftermarket, and by aftermarket I mean not a pre-order, you're going to be looking at some of the online retailers like Big Bag Toy Store, as well as maybe eBay. So some of the figures that are still readily available from previous waves, from more recent waves, that is where you should start. Get those figures, use those as a base, because there's some amazing things you can do. Case in point, this is a kronoff figure. This figure, which is kind of one of the Motu tributes, it's got that trap jar style look to it. This was released as part of the Wasteland wave. This, at least at the time that I recorded this video, is still readily available. You can get this for about $50. This figure here, while being just awesome out of the box, is a great base for customs. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. Example number one, and I've actually shot videos about this exact custom on my weekly Mythic conversation show, but this is a Frost Orc that I made using the kronoff base. Now, this uses obviously some other parts. This uses a wonderful head that was sculpted by Emil Wickman, that was printed by Wolf King Customs. It actually hasn't been released yet. This is one of their future pieces, but it also uses some lower arms and legs from a World of Warcraft Heroes of the Storm Arthas figure, as well as some other parts as well. But the base body on this, that torso part, the upper legs, that is a kronoff. I just slightly repainted the body to get the shade of blue that I wanted. That kronoff figure actually works as a wonderful base to create green-skinned orcs or barbarians, both of which are somewhat challenging to come by these days. So this figure here, this Orc Cleric, one-eyed Orc Cleric, again, this uses a number of different parts from Lord of the Rings and so forth. It uses a custom head that I got on eBay. But the reality is that torso was painted green to match the green I put on that head. That started life as the blue-skinned kronoff figure. A lot of people have taken this route, and it's absolutely a route you can take as well. Grab the figures that are available today and use those to fuel your customs. Instead of coming up with an idea and saying, oh, I have this great idea, but I need the base figure that would be perfect for that is one that is $200 right now on the aftermarket, work backwards. Look at a figure that already exists that you can get for $50 and say, what can I make with that figure? So that would be my first tip in terms of which figures are the best base, whichever one you can get your hands on. And to that point as well, when pre-orders are offered, consider buying extras of them. Look at the characters not simply from the character they are, but the base pieces that comprise them. So this figure here is honestly one of my favorite figures to use as a customizing base. This is the Baron Volgar figure. Now, this is the original one that was released years ago in the Covenant of Shadows wave, but this exact same character was recently offered in the All-Stars 3 wave. So All-Stars 3 it hasn't actually shipped out to buyers yet. That should be coming fairly soon, I expect. This is a great base figure. And if you look at it, at the component parts, you'll start to see how you can use it. So this has got that like cloth style tunic with the cloth loin piece. That's very versatile. That's something where if you repaint that, you can use that for a number of different kinds of characters. This has got the spiky armor, so the spiky shoulder pads, the spiky, gauntlets, the spiky lower leg armor and feet. If you're looking to make kind of an evil character, whether it's an orc or a vampire knight or any kind of, wicked looking character, those are all great base pieces you can use, even if you don't want it to be a black armored vampire lord. That's the other thing I would offer. When you're looking at pre-orders, look at the figures not only from their configuration, but their component parts. Those will provide a great source of being able to build on. Thinking about that same topic of figures that are readily available today, ogres. So I've been talking a lot about ogres. I've been seeing a lot of customizers do ogre customs. I've been doing a lot of ogre customs. There's no secret why. The parts are readily available right now. All of the ogre figures are still available for order. They provide a wonderful base to work on. Whether you're going to do something simply like this is a Curzod figure that I simply added another head from Emil Wickman and Wolf King Customs onto, as well as some accessory attachments from Wolf King Customs. Even if you're doing something like this. Now, there's a number of the 3D companies that are producing heads for ogre scale. Planetary Dog Toys are doing a ton of really, really cool heads in the ogre scale. Wolf King Customs has done it. My Action Figure Customs has done it. Teal Titan has done it. You have a lot of options if you start with that ogre base body. Now, in this particular case, this is pretty much a Curzod from the neck down. I just did that head there. You can also get kind of crazy. So this started out as a Balthar body, and I turned this into this crazy looking Anubis style figure. So this figure here uses parts from a actually 1/6 scale Anubis God of the Underworld figure. This is a topic, again, that I've talked about on my Mythic Conversation show a number of times. 12-inch or 1/6 scale parts work really well with these beefy ogres. So by starting with that base body and then adding, in this case I added a head, but adding weapons, adding armor, adding different pieces along with paints and so forth, you can create some really, really unique looks. And once again, you're starting with a base figure that's readily available. The other thing I would offer, the second tip for great figure bases, are Legion builders. So Legion builders are a mixed bag because they are so desirable, they tend to be somewhat hard to find once they are sold out. Actually, the prices on Legion builders tend to skyrocket, which is ironic because the whole reason they were created was to provide a lower cost option so people could stock up and build out large legions, large armies of these figures. Four Horsemen, imagine the people doing diorama builds with these characters and having, armies of skeletons and knights and dwarves and so forth. What ended up happening, certainly some people do that, but the customizing market really embraced Legion builders because of the lower price point and because of the fewer paint apps. They actually provide a great base for customizers to build on top of. So that's the second thing I will say. Grab Legion builders, especially when they're available at pre-order. If you're going to stock up, grab those figures. There's some amazing things you can do. And I'm going to further that because not only can you grab, if you get a Dwarf Legion builder, if you get a Cavern Dwarf Legion builder, you can add some paint applications to it. You can put a custom head on it and you can make another dwarf, but you can also do other cool stuff with those bodies. So a tip that I would offer is look at the bodies of all these figures, Legion builder or otherwise, and think, what can I make with that size body? An example here is that dwarf body. It's stout, it's short, works really well obviously for dwarves, but you can use it for other cool things as well. So this is kind of like a really interesting fawn type satyr, fey type character that I made using a silver dwarf Legion Builder body. Once again, like really all my customs, there's a lot of extra pieces on this from different lines, including a custom head from Matt O'Toole of the Castle of Power. Really, really cool piece here that because I had that dwarf body, I was able to build on. This figure here, the Goblin Legion Builder, is probably one of my favorite base figures to use in any customs. It's also actually the most popular Mythic Legions figure ever sold. The Four Horsemen have said a number of times that they sold more of this particular toy than any other in the line to date. No wonder it is an awesome figure and really at a Legion Builder price a great value. It does have two heads. It's got the goblin head that it comes with in the package, and then it also has another one of the fully masked heads inside. The base body is largely one color, really lends itself well to painting. But even outside of this Legion Builder, these are not readily available right now, but there are some goblins that are a little more expensive that are. Thwick the Goblin Archer and Thump the Goblin with the big hammer, those are both readily available. They use the same base body, wonderful for customs, not only to create an array of goblins to, build out your horde from Gob Hollow, but you can also do some other fun stuff with that. This is one of the Kitsune heads that I've talked about and shown numerous times. Obviously, I had a hand in bringing these things to life, and they're near and dear to me. This particular one, this is a Kitsune Thief that I painted to look like Zartan, the classic G.I. Joe character. But you can see that this uses actually a Goblin Legion Builder body. I just added some paint to it. I painted, those purples and those silvers to match the colors of the Zartan character. Again, other parts included here. There's a hood from one of the other Mythic Legions figures that the head inserts into, and the Kitsune parts and stuff. But that's an example of looking at that base figure and saying, what other types of characters can I make with this? This is another Goblin Legion Builder body that I made this other very strange looking fey character I call a Spriggan. So this uses a wonderful custom head also from Planetary Dog Toys, some Lord of the Rings parts, but once again the base figure on that character is a Goblin Legion Builder. Last one I'll show here. This is one that is readily available right now. This is the Steel Knight Legion Builder. So this is a figure you can still get today. Great generic base figure that is in the 2.0 body style. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. If you want to create different kinds of elves, if you want to create different kinds of warriors that are not big and beefy, you can absolutely use this. Even if you want to create different kinds of females. We tend to think because there is a body, a torso in Mythic Legions that clearly has the armor molded around like breasts, we tend to mistakenly think that the female characters would only wear that. There's nothing to say that a female character couldn't wear this chest armor as well, so you have some versatility here too. One creative thing that I did with that exact base figure is I did a line or a series of kind of samurai inspired customs that I called my Mythic Shoguns, where I combine Mythic Legions figures and parts with some pieces from the Articulated Icon series from the Fwoosh. Now I did a video just about that and combining these parts, but this is one I did that I kind of tried to create more of like a clockwork automaton for my samurai characters. A lot of fun to paint, some rust on it and some oxidation on the metal. Thinking about this not necessarily as a suit of armor, but more like a clockwork construct. A lot of fun, really cool base figure that you can use. And again, this really uses just that base figure and those armor parts to build that character. Now, clearly, you've got figures like this. So this is the Barbarian Builder figure from Mythic Legions 1.0. He was also offered in the All-Stars 1 wave. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better figure to build off than this. This set came with a ton of accessories, multiple heads, multiple armor pieces. This is the Cadillac of parts that you can get, of sets that you can get to fuel your customs. However, these days, even though this has actually now been released 3 times, because in addition to 1.0 and All-Stars 1, there was also a mistake made as part of Advent of Decay where the factory actually produced this Barbarian figure instead of the female Barbarian. So a whole 3rd run of these actually shipped. Will we see these again someday? Considering his popularity, I would be surprised if we never see this figure again. However, today it is fairly expensive. You're going to pay $200 or close to that to get one of these figures. So while this is a great base to customize with, what I wanted to do in this video is to show that you don't only have to go after these. Instead of paying $150 or $200 for this one base figure, you could probably get 3, 4 of these kronoff type figures, or the Purplor figure that also works as a great base body. Now Purplor has obviously purple skin, but like the Barbarian, he's got the bare chest, the bare arms, the bare legs. If you're not afraid of doing some painting, especially if you're not afraid of painting joints, which is challenging, you can use that $50 Purplor figure as a base to create Barbarians or what have you, instead of trying to hunt down one of these. So when you're thinking about these types of figures and you're looking at different fodder to use, think once again about what is readily available now. Look at body types, not just existing characters, and think, what could I do with those component pieces? Because the reality is, buying these figures, specifically from a fodder standpoint, it's an investment. Any hobby that you have, you're going to make an investment in. If you were a woodworker, you would be investing not only in the tools to do your craft, but also the materials. Well, as action figure customizers, this is our investment. We're not only investing in paints and in paint brushes and in all those types of things, tools like a Dremel. Those are all critical pieces to our hobby, but we also have to invest in the materials. This means fodder pieces from lines like Lord of the Rings. I did a video previously all about using Lord of the Rings fodder parts, but it also means buying these Mythic Legions figures. So get what is readily available now. Think beyond just the character or even the character type. The size of goblins can be used for a wide variety of characters. The size of dwarves can be used for a wide variety of characters. So think beyond that. Create some cool designs. Build up your fodder bins. And we'll see what you make. Thank you very much for joining me. If you like videos like this, give me a like, let me know in the comments. Certainly share this with those in your social circle that you think may enjoy it as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. I can't wait to see what you make.